Want to get this briefing by email? Here's the sign up. Good evening. Here's the latest. Tom Brenner, The New York Times. 1. President Trump said he would oppose reducing the amount that Americans can save in 401k retirement accounts, effectively killing with a tweet a plan that Republicans were considering to help pay for a $1.5 trillion tax cut. The controversial idea capped worker contributions at $2,400 annually for 401k accounts, far less than the current cap of $18,000 a year, or up to $24,000 for those over 50. Mr. Trump also met with Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong of Singapore at the White House, above, for the signing of a $13.8 billion deal between Boeing and Singapore Airlines. Mike Stalker, South Florida Sun-Sentinel, via Associated Press. 2. Maisha Johnson, whose husband, Sergeant David T. Johnson, was killed in Niger this month, said President Trump had blundered through his condolence call to her last week. Ms. Johnson, above at Sergeant Johnson's funeral on Saturday, said in a televised interview that Mr. Trump did not even seem to know her husband's name. "It made me cry because I was very angry at the tone in his voice and how he said it," she said. Mr. Trump responded on Twitter that he spoke his name from beginning, without hesitation. 3. The DEA has long maintained that the deaths of 4 civilians in an agency drug raid in Honduras in 2012 had come in exchange of gunfire. Through a Freedom of Information Act request, we obtained the video above, which shows otherwise. The grainy footage shows a canoe and a party boat colliding on a river in a remote part of the country, and no sign of gunfire from the party boat. "We still don't know why this happened," said one woman who was aboard. Pool photo by Alex Brandon. 4. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson made a secret 2-hour visit to the main American airbase in Afghanistan to meet top Afghan officials, including President Ashraf Ghani, above. That top American officials must sneak into the country after 16 years of war as testimony to the U.S. stalemate with the Taliban. "We also looked at the CIA's expanding role in the fight against them." Mr. Tillerson later flew to Baghdad for a meeting with the Iraqi Prime Minister, Haider al-Abadi. Romeo Rancourt, Reuters. 5. The Philippines declared victory after months of warfare against Islamic State-inspired militants in the city of Marawi. But the group still has a presence nearby, and some locals say it's only a matter of time before its flag flies again. Some Muslim separatists that have battled militias and government forces for years have allied with the army to fight ISIS. Defense Secretary Jim Mattis is also in the Philippines this week for meetings with military officials from around the region. Charles Sykes envisioned, via Associated Press. 6. On her new NBC morning show, Megyn Kelly attacked Bill O'Reilly and their mutual former employer, Fox News, following a report over the weekend that Mr. O'Reilly paid a former Fox News legal analyst $32 million to settle sexual harassment allegations. "What on earth would justify that amount?" she asked. "What awfulness?" went on. A Times interview with Mr. O'Reilly about the claims got heated. Our podcast has the audio. Separately, New York's Attorney General is investigating the Weinstein Company for civil rights violations. Grant Scroggie. 7. Nearly 400 mysterious stone structures have been discovered in the Saudi Arabian desert using Google Earth. Archaeologists believe they were built thousands of years ago by ancestors of modern-day Bedouin on lava fields, known as Herat, flying like a bird all over the Herat from one enigmatic structure to another. "How come we passed by these structures without appreciating their design?" said an amateur archaeologist. Beatrice de Giacude for the New York Times. 8. It was a startling experimental procedure. Doctors lifted a woman's uterus above her body to operate on her fetus. "We witnessed it at Texas Children's Hospital. The 24-week-old fetus had severe spina bifida, a disabling spine defect that the surgery, performed with tiny instruments through slits in the uterus, can mitigate." The mother, Lexi Royer, and her high school sweetheart and now husband, Joshua, had always wanted children. Her due date is January 14. Alex Wrobleski for the New York Times. 9. In other news about innovations, New York City will phase out Metro cards by 2023, 30 years after they replaced tokens. Customers will pay by waving or swiping cell phones and credit or debit cards at the turnstile. The announcement comes in a disastrous year for the subway system. The trains are such a mess, plagued with delays, malfunctions and even a derailment, that the governor declared a state of emergency. Meyer Leibowitz, The New York Times 10. Finally, for a while this past week, it looked as if we would have a 12th Dodger-Yankee World Series. That touched off flashbacks for a generation of Brooklyn Dodgers fans, including our sports writer George Vexey, who suffered terribly from 1947 through 1956, when the Dodgers were drubbed by the Yankees 5 times. Above, Jackie Robinson raced toward home plate in the opening game of the 1955 World Series. Of course, this is 2017, and now the Los Angeles Dodgers will face the Houston Astros, starting tomorrow night. I like the way these Astros play. I like it when different teams win the series, Mr. Vexey writes. But if Curtis Granderson gets his chance, wearing Carl Furillo's number 6, well, that might be different. Have a great night. Your evening briefing is posted at 6 p.m. Eastern. And don't miss your morning briefing, posted weekdays at 6 a.m. Eastern, and your weekend briefing, posted at 6 a.m. Sundays. Want to catch up on past briefings? You can browse them here. If photographs appear out of order, please download the updated New York Times app from iTunes or Google Play. What did you like? What do you want to see here? Let us know at briefing@nytimes.com.